Aloha and welcome to Betty's Real Estate Corner, brought to you by Sakamoto Properties. Sakamoto Properties sponsors this show, just so that everybody realizes it. I am Betty Sakamoto and I approve of this message. Okay, here we are. It's an interesting day. We've been stuck in traffic. Dean Otto is supposed to be here and should be rolling in shortly. With the wind, it looks like in West Maui there's been we drove by it, and not just looks like, but a fishing boat, it appeared to be, is on the rocks, and a lot of emergency equipment out there, so that traffic is pretty much at a standstill. So it's kind of a difficult time for somebody who was on that boat and for the whole community watching what's happening. So our best to all of the people that are there trying to help out, the policemen, the firemen, and our prayers go out to them and to whoever was on the boat. So Dean should be strolling in here shortly or calling in, however it works for him. So I'm a little bit stuck here by myself trying to figure out what I should be talking about today. So a couple of little things. One of the things that I've been on off and on the show is what's going on with foreclosures and how it's all working and why it's working this way. And I know a lot of you have been stuck with either short sales or properties that have been foreclosed on or that you've turned over to the bank. And I know there's some things going on right now that people are still trying to get help from the lenders, etc. But I think that any of you that are in that position should take a moment and send letters to your senators, congressmen, etc., and keep working with the banks to see if we can finally get them to help. The thing I still don't get is why a lender will allow a short sale so that, let's say a property is, there's $1 million, let's say $1 million you owe on it. But it's going to go to a short sale because that seems to be something that will get approved by the lenders. So it goes to somebody else, a new family come in, they buy it for $750,000, $250,000 less. They work out an arrangement where the current owner ends up walking away, and there's no deficiency judgment, again, typically. But why can't the current owner find a way to negotiate that deal with the lender so that they get the benefit of the, quote, short sale or short payoff or whatever it would take? I think something's wrong with what's going on, and it's very unfair to people who are in their communities. They've got children going to school, they do all sorts of things. You know, the parents are coaching and taking care of things in the community. They're Girl Scout leaders, Boy Scout leaders, and they're losing their home. And it is nice for the guy who comes in now and buys it for $250,000 less, but in a lot of cases, the guy that has the mortgage right now could keep his home. So again, I'm going to get off that bandwagon for the moment, but I think that a lot of people should be taking a moment and trying to figure this out with their congressmen or their senators or councilmen. I mean, let's all talk about it and see if we can help the people that really want to stay in their homes and their community. Having said that, a good news is that we're currently having a pretty big upswing in properties. And it seems that everybody is busy across the board. Every agent is busy. We're all showing properties as quickly as we can. I mean, it's almost, and I don't want to say too busy, because the minute you say that, we end up not busy again. But it's like, it'd be so nice if we could just average it out a little bit better, because right now we're just all pretty crazy. But last week we had basically a $6 million day. So we had 2 sales in one day, both from the Ironwoods at Kapalua, that totaled $6 million. So I think that's an amazing turn of events. Both properties were on the market for a lengthy period of time. One of them sold for $3,425,000. The other basically $2,450,000, so we're a little short of 6. But one of them was probably one of the best properties, probably the best location in the Ironwoods, and it had a $1 million remodel. So again, value-wise, I think great value for the buyer. The other property, again, was really in great condition. Still could use some additional remodeling, but easy enough for someone to walk in there with their toothbrush and use it just the way it is and do nothing to it. Beautifully furnished, fabulous wool carpeting, great, great property. And again, the Ironwoods, there's still some other great values in there. So give us a call, 669-0070, if you're interested in taking a look at the Ironwoods. We have a second floor unit available. We have one, one on the ground floor that also had $1 million remodel. So we've got some great exciting properties that you can look at there. Other than that, let's see, where should we be going? Pineapple Hill, I mean, everything at Kapalua today. You know, we're still seeing, we had a great sale at the Gulf Villas at Kapalua, $575,000, which was full price. But somebody came in, they were looking to something to live in. There had already been a really, really great remodel there, so that they went ahead and decided that they wanted it, they could move right into it, and they paid full price. So again, it's an exciting time at Kapalua and throughout the island. I think we've got somebody checking in with us. Hello there.
Hi, Betty and Dean. How you doing?
Good. Are you still stuck in traffic, or where are you?
I'm stuck in traffic, unfortunately, but pulled off to the side of the road and I'm sitting here on the beach, looking out at this great view, so I'm not doing too bad.
Good. Is that the best? Can you imagine? I mean, for different people listening to this, I know it isn't quite around the world, but could you imagine the idea in Buffalo, New York, that somebody is sitting basically on the beach calling in to a radio show? It's the best.
Quite frankly, I couldn't imagine. But listen, I did bring some information with me that I was hoping to sort of, bring up during the radio show today, and it was nothing critically important other than a little bit of market update information.
Perfect.
I don't know if you've already covered that, but I thought at least there's generally some pretty good news out there with regard to the market and how the market performed last year in relation to the years past. And I think that even though it's hard to feel the progress, I think if you look at statistics like we do, I think you'll see that there has been some progress. And for the first year in many years, we had some pretty good statistics to show that the market improved over the prior year, 2010. So, if you look at single-family resales as an example, for the island of Maui, we had 10% more sales than the year before. The average sale price was up 5%, and total volume for the year was up 16%. So while those are not hugely improving numbers, they do show improvements with the previous year. You'll see that while there may have been an increase in the number of sales, there was a dramatic decrease in the average sale price. So this is the first year already in some time that we've been seeing all three categories in a positive trend. I think that's really good news.
I think that's huge news. The only thing that I had touched on so far in market statistics was just what was going on at the Ironwoods, and what a great week we had at the Ironwoods last week.
Right.
So, but again, I think the market statistics are important. The other thing, Dean, that I was touching on, and if you have any comments on it before we go to a little more market, is what's going on with the lenders and why it is that if you owed $1 million on a mortgage, you can short sale it to another person for maybe $750,000, but the lender will not give the benefit of that short sale typically to you, the current owner.
Right, I think it's a good point, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think if you look at the effort that is being made by people that are trying to contest these situations, and people that are trying to go through the political avenues to get some reform, I think you're going to see that what people are proposing is that, why don't we appraise the property and get the market value for the property today, take 80% value, and adjust that mortgage down to 80% of the current value, and I think that would go a long way to keep everyone in their homes and solve a lot of heartache and expense and foreclosure process and second situations. Short sales are nice. It can take 6 months just to get a short sale approved. So, I think there's much easier solutions out there, and I think that you raised a good question. I think a lot of people are asking the same question right now.
One of the things, you and I have both seen a number of properties that are in a position right now of a short sale. The families are out of their minds with worry. It's almost like, just get me out of this, even if I lose my credit, if I lose whatever, I can't stand the stress anymore. And but they would, like you just said, at 80% of the appraised value, which will be way below what they own, they can stay in their home. They can continue to raise their kids, go to the same school. They can, I'm saying some of the people that I know are coaches. They're coaching Little League or they're coaching football. And something's wrong with this picture. And I know they're working.
End up selling for about that price anyway.
Yes, or less.
Yeah,
the lender is not a winner in this. Something is wrong. In some cases, they're saying, that there were issues where the federal government was coming in with one of the lenders, IndyMac, One West Bank, and that there was some sort of protection that they got so that once they foreclose, they still get some additional funding. Don't know how true it all is, but I wish I could see something change because I know so many people are hurting.
Right. It is definitely a complicated situation, and I think Hawaii is a little bit additionally complicated by the fact that we're a recourse state. So ultimately, these banks, when there's a short sale or foreclosure where there's a deficiency amount that the bank is losing, they have the right in the state of Hawaii to attach that deficiency to the borrower. So it creates really a difficult situation. In most cases, when people are short selling, they don't really have the assets and the income to contribute into paying that deficiency. So a lot of the time it's waived by the bank. But ultimately, they do hold people that do have assets accountable and do require participation where the selling party, if they're short selling and they have other assets, they're requiring that they participate in the settlement. So it gets really complicated, and I'm not sure where it's going, but ultimately it is a big issue for us.
No, I'm with you. Not sure where it's going, but I think that there should be more help. And in a lot of cases, the people don't have any assets. They've used tons of their assets just trying to keep their head above water at times when people's income went down or they lost jobs or unemployment or no unemployment. But I guess enough of that. Any other statistics you brought along?
Yes, I did actually. The other thing that I thought was interesting was, and also a good indication of an early trend, is the improvement in land sales. So all of a sudden you'll notice that contractors are getting excited again, architects are busy, and I think that the result of a fairly good year in land sales last year, let me just see, we ended up I think about 10% up in the number of sales, and a pretty significant increase in average sale price of about 25%. So, again, there's not a tremendous volume of sales there, but I think finally we're seeing land selling and construction starting, and I think that's a really good sign also because it does put some pressure on, when you have no new homes built and homes selling at replacement cost, it becomes difficult for the market. But, people are now choosing to buy land and build homes again, and I think that's a great sign.
One of the things that makes that happen, too, and even though we're only up a small percentage from price, there have been enough sales that in a lot of the places that we're working, Dean, like let's say even Kanapali Hillside, Pineapple Hill, anywhere along the lower road, the inventory is changing so quickly that for a long time you could buy a really great house for less than you could buy a lot and build a house. But all of a sudden, I think that is starting to switch. You've got contractors that are really looking to work and are really getting somewhat negotiable in certain cases so that somebody can buy a really great lot and build a house that really suits their needs. And it's because the prices of all the other homes on the market is starting to edge up. I think it does make it profitable to go ahead and build.
Right, exactly. I think that's part of the shift in the market. The market does seem to be trending in the right direction. It just is pretty gradual. Sometimes it's hard for us to feel yet. The other thing I thought was really important, good news too, is that there's been a pretty substantial decline in inventory. And so if you look at the statistics, inventories are down 18% over the last 12 months. But if you look at really the last 2 to 3 years, you recognize that inventories are down as much as 50% over the last 3 years. So all of a sudden, with inventory shrinking, construction and land sales starting to pick up, I think we have a recipe for a pretty strong market over the next several years. That doesn't say very gradual progress at this point.
Yeah, I think the change in prices is probably going to be somewhat gradual, but I still think over the last 10 days, 2 weeks, we've actually seen enough of a change that someone's coming in and they aren't just looking for the deal. You know, for instance, I mentioned a bit ago, but just the people that bought the golf villa, and there's some other people coming in right now in a different one, that they're really buying the properties for their own personal use. They're not looking for a short sale or for necessarily the best deal. They want something in really great shape. They want a great view. So again, it's changing, and if people are ready or thinking buying this year, they should be stepping up now before the inventory gets depleted and prices are really going back up again, totally.
Right, right. And so one of the big shifts that we're seeing is the reduction in the number of REOs and short sales, because I think you'd be pretty surprised to find out that short sales and REOs, 4% of all condominium sales in the last 12 months. That's a pretty big number.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
wait a minute, the short sales are only 4%.
Say it again?
The short sale and foreclosure type properties, they're a very small percentage of the current inventory.
Of the current inventory, exactly. And
right.
So I think part of the progress that we're seeing is all of a sudden those REOs and short sales being removed from the market, and that they're not going to be as much a part of the market going forward.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right, Dean.
I think that's the progress that we're seeing. So that's what I mean by gradual progress. I think to get too excited about at this point, but I think if you can eliminate all those REOs.
Oops. Well, I think we just lost Dean Otto. I think either the wave got him. He may check back in with us, but again, it's a wild weather day here, I think. Now, compared to the people that are on the East Coast or where they're freezing, etc., it's a beautiful, perfect, sunny day. But the waves are churning, and it's very, very windy, you know, way more windy than would be normal. So it's kind of an exciting weather day. There could be a little bit of a storm tonight. It was well, it was kind of stormy. We live at Kapalua, and I would say last night was a storm quality, and wind, and had to close doors that we never close, etc. So it was, you know, the weather by itself is kind of interesting. You know, a couple of other things. You know, we've got a new listing on a property in Kahana that we're going to have available, and we'll tell you more about on the next show, but you can be looking for it. 43 Kahana Place. I don't have any details for you right now, but if you're interested, a really great Kahana home, ocean view, very private ohana. It has an ohana. Give us a call at 669-0070. Check out our website. It will be coming up shortly on the website also with some photos. So I think it's going to happen fairly soon, but love to have you, you know, call us and ask. We don't have anything, like I say, that I can give you right now. But our website, sakamotoproperties.com, has all of our listings, and that's going to be one of our favorite properties, and I think we'll sell right away. Excuse me. I think I'm talking too fast and forgot to bring water because I got here so late. We're waiting still. I think Dean maybe. Give me water. I guess a radio show of one is a little bit difficult. I didn't realize that till just this moment, but usually I'm here on time. I get here early. I have a moment to get ready, have a glass of water, and usually I have a partner in crime. My husband would be here, Roy Sakamoto, and again, right now that just isn't working. So if I sneeze again, I'm really, really sorry. A couple of other interesting things. You know, we've been out of the country a couple of times, to Singapore and then to Shanghai, which were really exciting. We've got a variety of people there that are thinking of getting into the market here. Excuse me. And we're heading back to Shanghai to meet with a group that are hoping to come over here. In one case, they're looking to buy a small hotel that's in Honolulu, which they would end up time-sharing. But we have located a property for them, and we're going to be going back and you know, giving them a lot of details on it. We're only going to be able to do it for 2 days, so I think we'll be in the air longer than we'll actually be in Singapore. but between Singapore and Shanghai, we've made a couple of trips because there is so much interest in what's going on in Maui. Another, one last Kapalua property that I think would be worth talking about is 1212 Summer Road, which is right on the golf course, huge view, listed at $7.9 million, 8 bedrooms, 8.5 baths, 1,600 approximately square foot swimming pool. This house has the best of everything. It was built with an ear toward doing that, seeing to it that everything was perfect. It was built for the owner's use. It wasn't built as let's say, a rental home. It was really built, to have it be a second. It was more of a second home. They thought at one point it might end up being a first home, their principal residence. But again, fabulous home, fairly easy for me to get you in to take a look at it. And for the person looking for a large property to live in, this one could be the one. It has a really great media room, office, and pretty much everything was designed perfectly. Architect Rick Reiniak. So again, a property that I think would be really worth your getting a look at, depending on where you're at in the market and what you've got in mind. It does seem like I'm, again, talking about all of the upper price range listings rather than some of the others. But again, we do handle everything. We've got a couple right now that are looking for a principal residence that have some offers in on the Puli houses that, again, great values. There's some newer developments down in Lahaina that we've had people looking at, and I think those are really worth. The developer there is coming up with some great packages for lending. So I think there's so much happening in and around Maui that I think this is it. This is the time to be buying. We're looking at, let me just see some of the others that I was hoping to get to. We still have a fabulous property up country, which is huge acreage, and it's got several thousand acres. Sorry that I don't have it right here now, but I'm kind of throwing off on that one. So I think I'm going to stick again back at Kapalua and throw out a couple of others. If anyone is looking right now to get into real estate, I think you should be calling us first of all. Let us go through the list with you, whether you're looking for a $100,000 property or a timeshare. We've got one of our agents that has a couple of great timeshares at the Whaler. Let us sit down with you, get you to a lender, go over all of the different possibilities for what you can afford, get you with an understanding of exactly what kind of a mortgage you can qualify for. And I think that's really a key, starting in that area. But if you come in, talk to us. Again, 669-0070. I'm available, Roy's available. One of our agents will be happy to spend time with you. It's the way you get started, and we're happy to talk to you even if you're not ready to buy today, even if it's going to turn out that it's a year from now or 2 years from now. So check in with us. We're going to be shortly coming back up with Danny Couch and I Love Hawaii. And today I couldn't love Hawaii anymore. As I said, just driving over here, even though it was a huge traffic thing, the water's churned up and the wind is blowing and the sky is blue, and it really is a perfect, beautiful day. And tomorrow I'm sure we'll end up with no wind, and it'll be an even better day. So welcome to Maui if you're here visiting, and aloha from Sakamoto Properties. Thank you.